So we come from the earth. And we're also a child of the heavens. A child of the heavens and of the earth. Our souls come down into these bodies and inhabit form. And the form itself is God, right? And the form is the earth, the Mother Earth. Mother Earth, what we deem as Mother Earth, because she's a mother, things are born out of her, obviously. And so we ascribe mother to her, the term mother. And women who have babies obviously are mothers, and animals who have children are mothers. So the same goes for the earth. And my experience and the experience of many indigenous cultures and people throughout time is that this being, this mother, is an alive excuse me, being that is in obviously it has evolution that's happening, just like evolution is happening in us. We grow, we expand, and we change, which is a good thing. And the same is true for her. And the more that one opens up in understanding it and deepen, the more that we deepen in realization of our intrinsic oneness with creation, oneness with everything that's around us, the more that we see that actually there is no difference between ourselves and nature, between ourselves and this mother. And so as we continue to open up in this what I deem like this cosmic body, the experience of knowing ourselves as the whole, in deeper and deeper ways, in a very visceral, embodied way, that we get to see that we're actually one indivisible whole. And so the nuance of that emerges. And depending on what kind of language you use, and I tend to be using the language of this is our mother, then the expression will emerge. And so the expression that I use is that that this being, this mother that we are, one being actually, is at times is in joy, and at times is in sorrow, at times is suffering, and at times is feeling liberated, at times is in creation, at times is in dissolution. It's kind of obvious because we are her. So in one moment, someone may be in sorrow on the planet, and another person may be in joy, and the same goes for us, right? At any given time. So this is one being experiencing this, and it's not one being outside of ourselves. It's one being. You are I am you, I am the one suffering, starving, in pain. I am the one that has plenty to eat. And I'm the desert, and I'm the rainforest. The stars, am I the stars being birthed? Am I the stars dissoluting? The creation, am I? The eye that sees God is the same eye that God is seeing itself with. That is a beautiful Meister Eckhart saying. And these truths have been around for a very long time, and we can deepen in our capacity to share it with language. There's something that I've been coming to speaking about more, and that's a term that I use that maybe it's been used before, and this is something also I wanted to say, is that there's very little that's really original. Well, original just means origin. It comes from the root word origin, and it stems from what we are in our origin. Our originalness is that we're one, We are one indivisible whole, and we come from the same source. So from that, there is no ownership. Ownership doesn't exist. So I like to call this way of viewing one another in a non-hierarchical way sacred mutuality. Holding each other in sacred mutuality, seeing each other in sacred mutuality, meeting one another in that way. And what I'm speaking about is that, well, obviously sacred. The word sacred means that that everything is holy. Everything. And that's just what we are, is the holy. We're the holy in expression, expressing itself as the what we say is unholy, all the way the spectrum to holy with an exclamation mark, like the beautiful Anandamayi Ma behind me, holy with an exclamation mark, right? But all of life is sacred. Everything in expression is sacred because it comes from one source, the divine. And mutuality is something that I really love that word. When we meet each other in mutual recognition of our interconnected whole, of being from one source, in the sacredness of that we're from the one holy, we all come from the one holy. And also within the human spectrum, that the healing is going to occur for ourselves and with our neighbors and with on the planet when we see each other with mutual recognition that we are really one indivisible whole, and that we are each other, and that we're one family. So much pain has come through seeing ourselves as being separate. Sometimes I take a walk just here in my neighborhood, and everybody has a fence, and some people have signs, no trespassing, and it's just the way it is, right? It's just the way it is. But it's such an expression of our feeling separate from one another. The whole idea of land belonging to anyone, to me, and to indigenous cultures for ages, doesn't make any sense. Possessions belonging to you, yeah, you might have special love and appreciation for them. But the idea that anything really belongs to us comes out of, it's birthed out this of separation. If we really realized that we are one family, and that the earth is our mother, and that we are her and she is us, so all things that belong to her, that arise out of her, including us, all beings, that they don't belong to anyone because they're ourselves. They're our own very selves. If this kind of understanding was really taken in and deepened into every cell of our body, deeply, deeply penetrated, how could we not feed each other? How could we say no to sharing our possessions? How could we, if someone really had a need, I'm not just talking about something very special, like, an heirloom or something, but if someone really has a need, how can we really say no? And it just on and on it goes. How separation plays itself out. And I really feel that we need to look at this very deeply within ourselves. And we need to look at it very deeply culturally. Because the world can't wait. It's what's going to happen is going to happen. If we want to be preserving the holy as a human being, and the holy as with the animals, the holy with the earth, preserve the sanctity and wake up to our role with that, then in that paradigm it can't wait. That's what caring and compassion is. it moves and it takes care of itself. Why wouldn't it? So that's the beauty and the blessing of realization. It's really about realizing what's true, and then that coming back and going back into service, and seeing what is it that is still believing that it's separate, and feeling the impact of that, the pain of, oh, that must really hurt to imagine that you're, don't have enough to share. I think these conversations about money and resources really need to open up in our communities. It's really high time. And it really it comes down to how we see ourselves and where we think we come from, fundamentally. What we fundamentally feel like we are. We are life. We are life itself. We're not separate somebodies. That is imagination. And as long as we play in the world of imagination and believe that, we're going to suffer and we're going to create suffering. And the good news is that there is just not true. And so to explore that, to look at it deeply, what's really true? What is your relationship to this world? What is your relationship to the earth? Do you see yourself as separate from it? And if you do, I would imagine that looking at that deeply can be very liberating. It was for me, and it continues to be. So take care of your imagination. Take care of what you believe. And the separate self is a good clue. The pain of the separate self is a good clue that something is amiss. And when we realize that we're one with this beautiful being that we are, one with, and we realize that our burdens are not our burdens, that it's life itself that feels, that suffers, that imagines, that enjoys and dances. It's one thing. It's not a separate self burden, but it's a one intrinsic whole. And it lightens everything up. It deepens everything. The impact is very deep. But it also lightens things up. I don't need to carry this by myself anymore because I really am not a separate self. And that's why these beings, I feel, we're actually deeply joyful beings. And it wasn't because they weren't impacted and didn't feel deeply. You could see at times some of them, often would cry and co-feel with others or feel with the earth. But when we share in the beauty and we share in the burden, it's not the same experience at all. Because, see, we are the whole, and the whole is incredibly vast. It contains everything. It is the whole. It is the whole. So it doesn't get overwhelmed by itself anymore. And life is always moving, cleansing itself and changing. Wishing you well.